Late summer to early fall is one of the best times to plant your perennials. And the reason is they get to establish their roots before the first hard frost. They rest over the winter and then they come up for you in the spring and summer. And today we're going to take a look at a few of those that you can plant right now. If you have never been here before, my name is Marlene. Welcome everyone to my home and garden channel. Now let's take a look. One that we're going to be looking at is bearded iris, and this wonderful flower gets its name from the little white fuzz that you can see at the bottom of the lower petals. And boy, are they gorgeous. I've had these for many years and they never disappoint. They bloom in the mid-spring to early summer depending on where you are, and they're supported by rhizomes. Now let's take a look at the root system. The ones that you're seeing there, those little narrow ones, those are the true roots. The rhizome is that fleshy stem that you're seeing. It's really an underground stem, and that's where the food is stored for this plant. So when you're putting these down, you typically want to do it in, I would say, August, late August to early September. And the reason is you want them to have enough time to be established before the first hard freeze comes about. And just to show you how I'm doing this one here, if the soil in your area is not that great, you can go ahead and mix in, something like biotone, some type of a fertilizer, mix it into the soil well before you go ahead and plant it. And you'll want to make sure that you're burying all of the regular roots. But if there are any extra pieces like you're seeing here for the rhizome, you can always take those off, and that's if you're dividing them. If you are just, planting the dry ones that you bought, you can just, put the whole thing down. But make sure that you're not completely covering the rhizomes. They do need to stick up a little bit above the soil. The main thing is that the true roots are actually covered completely. So you can leave a little part sticking out, and then once you've covered them, you pat it down a little bit, and you go ahead and water them. And just let them do their thing. Typically, maybe water them, maybe twice in a week. And then after that, they'll be perfectly fine with whatever rain falls out there. There are different colors. I have two different varieties right here. You can see these that grow at the side of my house. And I'll also link below for you some other types that you can get online if you'd like to do so. And always, do your review, check the ratings to see how they do. The next one I'm moving on to would be peonies, and these are just so gorgeous, guys. These are kind of like an old world type plant that has stuck around over decades, and you can see why they're so gorgeous. It's like the old world still in the new world. The main thing about them though is that they have to bear in mind though is that they have heavy flower heads, so sometimes they can flop over just a little bit. So these plants will need to have some staking, or if you maybe want to put a trellis to help to support them, just something to keep them up. I've even seen cages for them, and I'll try to link one of those below for you as well too if you wanted those. But you can get them for the dry roots in your location or online to plant. Another one for this time would be your Asiatic lilies, and these are so gorgeous. Now, of course, you can get these in the springtime in bloom already if you want. You can see the wonderful warm colors that they have. But ideally for me, I like to plant bulbs and dry roots, at the appropriate time. So that way when they come up, they're just so gorgeous for you. And I'll also link some of these as well too for you. You can get these online on Amazon, or you can check other places too, but I'll put them in there to make it easier for you. These over here are some wonderful Easter lilies, and boy, do I love them. I've done a couple of videos on these too, and you guys have responded really well to them. These typically you'll see that in your garden center, they'll come up during the resurrection period or Easter period. But when you grow them yourself, you'll see that they actually bloom in June. Because the ones that you're getting during the Easter season are forced, they're treated with hormones and different temperature exposures. So that way they actually come earlier than they typically would. But it is so rewarding. It multiplies year after year. So I highly recommend that you can get some of these and you can plant them in the early fall. And of course, always check your growing zone. The next one again would be hostas. And look at these beautiful purple flowers right here, guys. Aren't they gorgeous? Birds absolutely love them. These ones are my next door neighbors, and I see them from time to time on there. Just take a few steps over and I can see them, and they're so beautiful. While they have pretty flowers, They're mainly grown for their foliage. As you can see here, that these are green and white, but there are so many other types. And this plant actually likes to be in shade. And it's kind of hard sometimes to find plants that do well in shade. Most plants prefer part sun or full sun, but these, that's their favorite place, and they do so well. And if you put them in full sun, you may not get very good results from them. But check out your garden center. The prices will vary depending on where and when you're checking. These next are called Lenten rose or hellebores, and these also like to be in part shade. The good thing about them is that when other plants are not blooming out there because it's too cold, these plants, they're tough little troopers and they will still be there. And I think these flowers are so, so pretty. They have tough leaves and the petals are pretty sturdy as well too. They also have some that bloom at Christmas time, like these one that I saw at my garden center. I think it was maybe 2 Decembers ago. And I thought they were so gorgeous and they combine very well with those red colors that we typically use in the Christmas season. They start out as white flowers and then they get a kind of a lime greeny color as they get older. And there are different varieties that will change in different ways, like these over here. These started off with a kind of like a pink white coloration or pink cream, and then they get kind of like a chocolate look. And what happens to them, of course, as you can see that over time, then they multiply. We had seen these in Albany, Georgia when we were visiting there, I think a year ago. And I wanted to capture that and just share them with you so you can see that if you want to have something blooming all the time, there you go. Next one is daffodils, one of my favorite early springtime bloomers. There's so much to love about this plant. They're low maintenance, little pest or disease affects them, and they smell really nice. Most of the varieties that I have tried or checked, they have a really sweet fragrance. I'd say if you've never smelled your daffodil before when they bloom, then you'll want to go and give them a check to see if yours is one of those varieties that has that wonderful fragrance. And for me, I'm in growing zones 8, so I typically plant mine in October. And when they come up in their blooming in the spring, it's pretty early. You'll see that bees like them, and sometimes you'll see maybe an occasional ant or two on them, depending on when they are blooming. And some of them bloom at slightly different times, depending on the variety that you have, and there are hundreds of them. So it's a wonderful plant. And of course, you can mix it with other spring blooming bulbs, like how you see them having these right here. They actually give you a combination. So you have 3 different types that are coming together, and they put them based on the colorations. And of course, again, the price is going to vary depending on where you are and when you're watching this video. What I will say about tulips, they're absolutely gorgeous. I love them, but they are not very good repeaters. So you typically get 2 really good years out of them. And typically for me in my growing zone, usually by the 3rd year, I may get few blooms, smaller blooms, or no blooms at all. But you can let me know what your experience is, where you are, how it works there for you. But that's just been my experience in my growing zone. And if you're liking this video so far, be sure to give me a thumbs up. It sends a good message out to the platform so that they'll recommend this out to others so that they can get to see the video and get the same information that you got. So be sure to give me a thumbs up on the way out, or you can do that right now. Look at all those beautiful colors, guys. They're just so gorgeous. Some of them are double and some of them are single row of petals, but also gorgeous. And be sure to get your potting mix if you're putting them in a container. Here's another one again. And these ones, I've seen them, like in my neighborhood. I don't think they multiply as much, but one thing I'll say is that they surely do come back. These are some crocuses right here, multicolors. And the thing with crocuses are that they're another early set of bloomers as well too. They're usually short though. They're not very tall, and they do like full sun, but you can plant them under deciduous trees because they're so early in the season. By the time the leaves come on the trees, that have gone through their full cycle and gotten enough of the sun to feed them for the following year. So just to show you guys the different colorations, that they have. And this video right here, I did this maybe a few years ago, and it's still getting views, still doing good. It's very comprehensive, and it's always so good to just look back and see, the journey of where we came from. So I'll link it for you at the end or in the description box. And I just wanted to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you have never done so before. I do lots of gardening topics, tips, and tours. We have a wonderful community of gardeners on here where we exchange ideas, and it's always so rewarding to me. And I love to see your comments as well. And we also have fall merchandise available. I'll link that. Well, actually, just check the shop icon or the tab that says shopping under my channel icon, and you'll see it there. Over here now we have some coneflowers. Another mainstay of my garden. This is for summertime. If nothing else is going on, these will be giving me beautiful, beautiful colors. You can see you have different, shades. You have like pinks, corals, lighter pinks. There are yellows, there are whites. There are just so many different kinds. And, as they are true perennials, they just fluff out and multiply as the years go by. As they say, the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, and the third year they leap. So the more time goes by, the more you'll have, and you can, divide them out and give them to your friends and neighbors. And it's just such a rewarding plant. This right here is black-eyed Susan or Rebecca, cousin of the coneflower. Same story again, you just plant them now, either late summer or early fall, just as the Shasta daisies too. And they'll come up for you, they're going to rest over the winter, and then they'll come up for you in the spring or the summer, and they'll be just great. It's nicer to do it that way than just to, buy the ones that are blooming already, because you get more bloom time out of them too when they're coming up. You can just enjoy the entire process. These are some of my neighbors, and I think they're so nice. And she left some spacing between them to put other plants, but of course they will also, multiply as time goes by. And those were cirrus clouds ones that you were seeing just now. And you can see why they got the name. Over here we have some coral bells, also called heuchera. These are mostly grown for their foliage. These are some, you can see these are like a burgundy shade, but they come in different colors, greens, lime greens, and they produce pretty little flowers too. And they like the cold weather, and they also like part shade. So this recent video that I did showed you different perennials that were available at Lowe's, as well as some clearance items and some of the things to avoid and when it's best to buy them. So guys, bear in mind that you want to plant them at least, your perennials, plant them at least 4 to 6 weeks before your first hard freeze or your first frost date, so they can establish themselves and come up for you in the spring. For your bulbs, you'll want to take a look to see what time of year you should plant them. Typically, like for daffodils, usually about, and crocuses and so on, usually about October for me. And for the tulips, a little bit further in. As long as the ground isn't frozen over, then you will be good to go. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Be sure to check out the videos that I'll link at the end to see how you can help to, have a wonderful experience in your garden. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to share this out with those that also like flowers and they like growing their own food. And be sure to subscribe if you've never done so before. Thank you so much for watching, and I do hope to see you in the next video. Take care.